All right, Platoon, fall in. It's the Joe and the Jarhead show. I am the Joe. With me, as always.
Hoorah! Jarhead is here. And we got the news for you.
What do we got today?
Some good stuff today. We got a good history article. I don't want to spoil it because I'm super excited about this one. We're going to be talking about the trade war. The Navy's got a new little remote control toy going on.
Terminators. They're building Terminators.
Israel is blocking some stupidity, which I am super happy about. Portland and ISIS have a lot of stupidity. We're going to get into all of it.
I like it.
But first, let's talk about this super awesome history stuff you found.
All right, this week in history, 1920. Professional football is born.
Hoorah!
All right.
Best sport on the planet.
I'm a football fan. I love me some football. Mostly the last couple of years has mostly been college ball and high school football, local high school football, because the NFL has been seriously pissing me off.
Agreed.
I'm a football fan. He's a football fanatic. He is...
I'm going to own that.
Dude, you have no choice.
But I'm on the same page as Joe. I mean, the professional football guys, I'm so tired of them. We don't really allow a lot of that in my house anymore. We mainly stick with college and the local anymore. They have ruined football.
Oh, yes. But professional football first started as competitions between like local athletic clubs in the 1890s. And then in the 1910s, the Ohio League was formed. It was basically the first professional football organization. It was the pre-runner to the NFL. It was the pre-runner to the pre-runner to the NFL.
Okay.
It was just a bunch of teams in Ohio just beating the snot out of each other.
Yes!
And trying to generate fan revenue, which it really did, because we have always loved gladiatorial sports in the United States.
Oh, yes,
and this is like pre-pad football. This is dudes just killing each other out there. The Ohio League there were four teams: the Akron Pros, the Canton Bulldogs, the Cleveland Indians, which I guess then became a baseball team.
Yeah.
And then the Dayton Triangles. Dayton needed some work. I'm just saying. They got together and they formed the American Professional Football Association. That's the forerunner of the NFL. Okay. And in September, they played their first two games, which was the Rock Island Independence of Illinois waffle stomped the St. Paul Ideals 48-0.
I love these names.
Right?
Let's talk more about that.
Right? And then a week later, the Dayton Triangles beat the Columbus Panhandles. I don't know if you know this or not, Ohio, but there's no panhandle in your state.
That's our state. That's Idaho.
In the first game. So the Rock Island Independence, they had home team for the first NFL game. They're the ones that kicked it off, and they really should have kept going. They hired like some really amazing athletes, but they made some really poor business decisions. And yeah, they went the way of all things.
That's too bad.
Well, I mean,
you had a killer name.
They did, and then they kept losing to the team that would become the Chicago Bears.
Oh.
So I mean, that says a lot about your abilities right there. I'm gonna get some flack from Chicago.
The Bears.
The Bears.
Yeah, we got a lot of people in the platoon who love the Bears. So
yes, we do.
Yeah, you got that one coming.
And I've earned it.
Man, we love football, and it is football season.
It's getting there.
We love it. Okay, moving on.
What do you got?
Let's talk about the trade war, shall we?
Let's talk about the trade war.
Okay, so we're going to back up. We're going to talk about why the trade war started, why Donald Trump started tariffs in the first place. Okay. So, United States of America, imports $3.1 trillion in goods, right? That's what we import. Correct. We only export $2.5 trillion. So there's a deficit there, right? We're bringing in more than we're sending out, which isn't good for us because we don't have enough material, goods, jobs, sending stuff out there into the rest of the world. So there's a $600 billion deficit.
Okay.
Now let's go to China. We import $500 billion worth of goods from China. $500 billion from China. And we only export $100 billion to China. So there is 2/3 of our deficit right there with China. So why did Donald Trump start tariffing them? Because they're not doing fair games. They're not being fun at all.
Okay.
So they're not allowing us to send them as much as we're getting back from them. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, China's just a lot better at manufacturing, and so that's why they send us all their stuff. And to that, I'm going to raise the BS flag, because I think every American home has Chinese stuff in it. And it's probably the junkiest crap you got in your home. Am I right?
That is highly likely.
Yes. So, our economy, our free market here in America, it drives competition, innovation. So we always come up with the newest stuff, right? The next gadgets, the coolest things. That's what we come up with.
And
China's economy.
Manufacture that in China.
Yes, yeah. So we send that. Yeah, that's exactly what we do. We send it over to China to be manufactured because their communism/socialism economy drives child labor, right? And they copy.
Well, it drives
things.
essentially slave labor. It drives insanely cheap working conditions because you can just throw people at the problem.
Exactly. So the normal working day in China is a 12-hour day, and it's 6 days a week, and there is no underage working limit. Is that a thing? Yeah. So you can work. As soon as you start speaking, they're going to put you to work. So why are we doing tariffs? Why is there a trade war? That is why, because there's a huge deficit and we are getting our butts kicked. We are not sending enough things, materials, goods out in the world, and China is making $500 billion off of us, and we're not making that back. Now, a lot of people are scared because they own a lot of our debt, right? Mm-hmm. What are we going to do if they sell our debt? Well, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. We're going to end up working for China. So they own about somewhere in the ballpark of $1 trillion of our debt. They're not the only ones. A lot of the countries, even Mexico and Canada, they all own our debt, right? And it's the same worldwide. Mm-hmm. We own some China debt, Mexico debt. We own some Russia debt. It's the same thing. However, so if you're worried about that, about China selling $1 trillion of our debt or calling it in, right? Mm-hmm. They say, okay, you owe us $1 trillion, pay up. We're like, okay, well, we're not going to import any of your stuff. And China will go bankrupt. The entire economy will collapse in 2 years. Why? Because we import $500 billion of their crap every year. Times 2 equals $1 trillion.
But if you stop importing their stuff, the largest employer in the United States will fold.
Walmart?
Yes. All that Chinese stuff gets sold at Walmart. If you stop importing their stuff, the Walmart shelves dry up, they start laying people off. If it hurts China, it hurts us too.
So let's talk about that, because it is hurting us, because right now, the current trade war is affecting our farmers the most, right?
Yep.
So from January to March of just this year of 2019, we've had the highest number of bankruptcies amongst our farmers, which is hard for us, right? They've taken a hit of $11.8 billion, just our farmers. Ouch. So Joe's right. So it does affect our economy by putting tariffs on them. They started a trade war, so they put tariffs on things that affect our farmers, right? But in the end, we have a solution to that, because everything that China is making and sending to us, we can do here. Yes, it will be more expensive, but it feeds our own economy. And it will take a while and we will get hurt. But in the end, it's always the right answer to buy American rather to buy Chinese-made goods.
I would say yes. I don't think we have that industrial capacity anymore. I think we've gone to a information-based culture rather than a industrial culture. We don't have the patience to make our own stuff anymore, and people don't want to learn to make stuff anymore. You don't see people going to college for trade degrees anymore. You see people going to college for IT degrees or lesbian dance therapy degrees.
Have you done research into that? Is that why you know that's a thing? You've been looking into that?
There are colleges, I kid you not, that offer those kind of degrees.
It wouldn't surprise me.
But the point is, kids are going to college these days because they don't want to go to trade schools. You can leave a trade school virtually debt-free, go right into the workforce with a high 5-figure job or a mid 5-figure job and be good to go. But no, we could go to college, and that's why China produces stuff and we don't.
Yes. And I can get on board with you a little bit, but I'm under the same mentality that if you build it, they will come. If the jobs are here, then we need those jobs filled, and I think people will go and work in those jobs if we have them. I agree with you that we've moved more towards an information economy than an industrial manufacturing economy, but we can still do that. We're America. Nobody else can do it better than us, I think.
I completely agree with you. I think it'd be interesting to see, because we've raised people for generations to think that, it's not that you have the college option, the option to go to college, it's that college is the only option and you're nobody without a degree, which is entirely wrong.
Yes. We need to rethink that whole college thing after high school.
Yep.
So that is why we have a trade war. And what can we do about it, the everyday American? Buy American.
I like it.
And it's hard because, you do go to Walmart or Amazon. A lot of stuff is made in China. Mm-hmm. But do your due diligence. Take 30 seconds of research and find something that's made in America. It's going to cost more money, but that stays in America.
But it feeds an American family.
Yes, exactly.
Can I talk about Philly now?
Philadelphia. Why would you want to talk about Philadelphia? What good things come out of Philadelphia?
Nothing. But, the Liberty Bell's there.
Super Bowl champions.
Ish.
From a little bit ago. All right. Philadelphia Shootout.
Yes. So, last Wednesday, there was a guy holed himself up in an apartment in Philadelphia and shot at the cops for 8 hours.
8 hours. Mm-hmm. That's intense.
Well, because they went to his house to serve a drug warrant on him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he shot 6 cops. All of them survived. Their body armor kept them safe. So while he's barricading himself in this place, dispensing 100 rounds toward the cops over 8 hours, he calls his attorney.
Oh, that's right.
To help him negotiate his surrender to the cops because he didn't want to get shot because he just had a baby girl. Okay. Couple of helpful tips, genius. First of all, don't support your kids by selling drugs.
Good tip. That's a good tip.
When the cops come to bust you for doing something illegal, don't shoot at them. Cops don't like that. Most people don't like that. But cops have guns. Not every human being out there carries guns, but cops carry guns. And they don't like getting shot at. And they tend to shoot back in exceptionally large volumes. So, yeah. Rules number 1 and 2, don't sell drugs, don't shoot at cops. I thought that was pretty easy.
I mean,
then you wouldn't have to call your lawyer to get you out of a jam.
If you want to be a good dad, I mean, those are pretty basic good tips to live by if you want to raise your kid.
I think I'm at least a mediocre dad. I don't support my kids by selling drugs.
Or shooting the cops.
I know a lot of the cops here in Potatoeville, and I like them. They're good dudes.
They are good dudes. So what I like about this story is while this standoff was happening, the cops weren't just standing still; they were doing things. So he was in an apartment building, so they were worried about the people who lived above him. So they went and got those people out of the building, right, putting themselves in the line of fire.
Yep.
And also, what I learned is that there was a daycare across the street.
Really?
Daycare center across the street where this guy was shooting bullets. Yeah. So they had to go empty that thing.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
But what burns me about this is afterwards when you saw all the people lining the streets taunting those very cops.
Yeah.
That was super despicable.
Yeah.
That is not okay. After they just saved the daycare center and they say, yeah. All they were trying to do was arrest the guy for drugs.
Yeah, serve a warrant. Which is weird that he was shooting at them. Because, see, he already has a huge rap sheet, including a federal charge.
So he shouldn't have a gun.
He can't have a gun. He legally cannot have a gun, let alone like 3 guns. I think he had like a semi-auto rifle and a couple handguns, or the ability to fire 100 rounds at the cops. So the politicians in Philadelphia, of course, are calling for tighter gun control.
Because that will solve the problem. The
Yes, it
criminals
won't.
Get the guns.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're calling for greater gun control, universal background checks, ban on military-style assault weapons.
Is that what is that? If it looks dangerous, you're just going to call it military?
Well, it's an exceptionally racist term because generally what they mean are black-colored guns.
Oh, you racist pigs. How dare you?
So the Jim Kenney, the mayor of Philadelphia, is saying that police need help keeping weapons out of criminals' hands. I bet you let law-abiding people keep guns in their hands. I guarantee they'll solve the problem for you.
Right.
So this guy wasn't supposed to have any guns anyway. And my question to you, Philadelphians, is how are more laws going to make things better? Seriously.
Has it ever worked?
What laws would improve things? This guy clearly doesn't follow the laws we already have, so more is better how?
So I have an idea, Philadelphia. How about you try to get your gun controls as stupid as like Chicago or LA, because clearly it's working for them.
Man, that is the truth. If you just basically essentially ban firearms within like the county, it always leads to good things. Look at Chicago. They have the tightest gun laws in the country and the absolute lowest murder rate. Oh, no, wait. No, that's 100% the opposite.
Opposite. Yeah, nice try there. So, keep playing stupid games. You're going to win stupid prizes.
Yep.
Speaking of stupid prizes.
What do you got?
Let's move on to Portland. They're playing stupid games.
Portland.
So, just real quick, they had another protest over the weekend with Antifa, or as they should be called, because they're just fascists. They're not anti-fascist.
Yeah.
So, I don't think Portland was like the birthplace of Antifa, but that's where they're at all the time, right? When you see Antifa out in the streets, they're always in Oregon or maybe even Seattle up there. So why are they up there? Because the politics in Portland allow that to happen. You remember a couple of weeks ago when the reporter Andy No was beat up? He's Asian and he's gay, and he was beat up by Antifa. People who should be supporting everything about this guy. They beat him up. They were kicking him while he was down in the streets, throwing cement milkshakes at his head. This guy got tore up. Has anybody been arrested? That was weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's on film. It's on like 30 different cell phones. It's blasted on YouTube. We can see the faces. Any arrests? No, there hasn't been. Because Portland allows this type of stuff to happen.
Yep.
So they had another big protest over the weekend. And Antifa has actually, because they're so extreme, they created another extreme group on the opposite spectrum called Proud Boys. So you get all these right-wing guys up there who, I don't even know what they stand for. You go looking at Proud Boys and you're going to come up with some gay porn. But you look, they have no stance. They don't even know what they're fighting for, why they're protesting. They're just there to cause trouble, just like Antifa. Why are they doing this in Portland? Because it's one of the very few places you can get away with it now. You try that crap in Idaho, you're going to get beat down by the rednecks. You're not going to be allowed to protest in our streets beating people up. Because the citizens...
You can protest in the streets. That's fine. Just keep it civil. We don't beat up civil protesters.
Civil. And if you have a permit and if it's allowed, no, we won't.
Yeah.
But if you're out there picking fights, beating up our ordinary citizens...
Yeah, if you're essentially like a sponsored, permitted riot, no.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, you're going to get water hosed. You're going to get water cannoned.
So that's all I got to say about that.
So what do we got next, brother?
What do we have next? It's on you. Let's talk about, a new remote control fun device.
Yes. No.
Leave it to the Navy to build something awesome.
Yes, only the frickin' Navy. All right, so the Navy wants to build a fleet of 10 robot warships over the next 5 years.
Robot warships.
Robot warships. So these are referred to as large unmanned surface vehicles, LUSVs, I guess, would be the acronym. And they would function as essentially as scouts for the main fleet. So they'd be ranging out ahead, detecting threats ahead of time.
Hang on, when you say warship, I'm thinking of the big warships that I was in a fleet with when I was in the Marines.
Yeah, these are essentially frigates. They're designated as light frigates. So like 200 to 300 feet long, displacing 2,000 tons.
Unmanned. Remote controlled. What?
So it's either remote controlled, like semi-autonomously with operators steering it by joystick, or the ship just has a pre-programmed routine of what it does, and then goes and does it.
So you're trusting a computer to go out there and do your thinking for you?
I really don't. And I just want to just ask the Navy this real quick. Do you want Terminators? Because that's how you get Terminators. A fully independent AI-controlled ship. Okay. And according to this, it's supposed to be armed with surface-to-air missiles and cruise missiles. So when, not if, because anything electronic, anything that has a remote control system can be hacked. Anything with a signal can be hacked.
Yes.
So when this gets hacked, you've given bad guys the ability to shoot down planes and fire cruise missiles with thousands of miles of range at anything, whatever they want. I like this plan. This is a great plan.
Sarcasm coming out.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between this and the drones we got in the air right now, flying everywhere?
Well, these ones are on water.
Okay, the drones are in the air.
Yes.
Signaling stuff, they can be hacked.
Yes, they can.
So do we hate those two?
Right now, the drones we have are mostly reconnaissance platforms.
Okay.
Right? And the ones we do have that are armed with vehicle-killing weapons or anti-armor weapons.
Okay.
Tank busters. One on each wing, because you can't put a whole lot of mass in the air and keep it up there forever. This is like thousands of miles of range and a whole armory full of these weapons. So it can steer itself into a foreign port, right? How do you kill that? Well, you kill it with, you send planes out after it. Except it can defeat those. And then, once it's within range of, an enemy city, it can just launch cruise missiles at it.
But there are a lot of pros to this too, though, right? Because you send this out there.
Really not seeing any. I'm seeing them, but I don't think they outweigh the potential negatives. Because yes, you can have you don't have the costs of sailors on these ships. If they get blown up or sunk, you're not losing American lives, which is cool. I dig that. But at the same time, I don't think it's worth Terminators. Because this thing is, I guarantee you, there is an entire, branch of the Chinese freaking intelligence arm of their military devoted entirely to figuring out how to hack this thing.
So let's talk about that a little bit more, because
Believe it or not, this thing is actually in response to the Chinese developing the same thing. And I guarantee you there's guys at Langley working for the CIA or the NSA or, that whole East Coast intelligence think tank group. I guarantee you their job is to figure out how to hack the Chinese version of this.
And that worries me. That's first problem issue right there, is because America is so behind in their innovation now, where we used to be decades ahead of everybody else, that Russia and China have started building these things. China actually has one that's nuclear powered, remote controlled.
Russia.
Yeah, what did I say? China? I meant Russia. So, and they started this before, so now we're becoming the copycats, right? Oh, they got this cool thing. We should go try something similar, I guess. So we're losing our innovation. But the second thing that bothers me there is that all of our ships out there, whether they're submarines or on the water, they're sending out signals right now, right? Whether it's through radio, communications, bouncing off satellites, whatever it is, they're sending signals out there right now. So are we worried just as much about them getting hacked with their signals as this new?
Right, but if you take like the Ford, the Gerald Ford, the newest, coolest aircraft carrier, supercarrier out there,
billions of dollars,
thousands of tons, and you shut down its signals, right? You kill its GPS signal, you kill all its comms, right? It's still a nuclear-powered warship, crewed by people. I'm sure they have redundant charts on board. You can steer that thing by the stars. You can navigate by the sun. You can do that kind of stuff. If the signals go out on a robot warship, okay, now what?
Yeah, and that's
now it's a little floating island waiting to become a reef.
And that's exactly what I was getting at, because if it does get hacked on a ship with people on there are people on there who can reverse the situation and make it right.
Correct.
You can't do that on a remote controlled
Nope.
ship. So, anyways, let's see what happens there.
Yeah, let's
work on your innovation. Okay. Oh, sweet. Let's talk about Israel. Oh, I'm so excited about this article.
Okay.
This is why I love Israel. So they came out and they said, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, you're not welcome here. And for good reasons. So we do not like these people. They are Congress women here in America. Ilhan Omar out of Michigan, Rashida Tlaib out of Minnesota. We talk about them quite a bit.
We do.
They deserve it. So they are actually big supporters of a movement called BDS, which stands for Boycott, Divest, and Sanction against Israel, because they don't like the way that Israel treats Palestinians.
Okay.
So these two congresswomen, they want more rights, more freedoms for Palestinians. The biggest issue there, and the main issue, the only issue, is that there is no such thing anymore as Palestinians.
Nope.
Hamas has run them out. Palestinians used to be a beautiful word because it entailed a lot of different religions, a lot of different colors, a lot of different cultures. You don't have that in the Palestinian-controlled areas over in Israel anymore.
Nope.
West Bank, Gaza Strip, none of them. They're all run by Hamas.
Yep.
You're not going to find different cultures, different religions over there.
Hamas is the Iran-backed terror organization over there. Well, them and Hezbollah.
Yeah, they back a lot. So what's going on with Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, it's pure anti-Semitism, what they're doing.
Yeah.
And why
the reason they wanted to go over there in the first place wasn't to meet with Israeli authorities. It was to meet with boycott, divest, sanction leadership.
Yes. Yep.
It was to meet with those groups. And Israel's like, why would we let you into the country to meet with people who don't want us to exist as a country?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and they're not.
I just like the fact that Israel is boycotting people for boycotting them.
I love it.
When you boycott the boycotters, I love it.
This is why we love Israel. Yes. Oh my goodness. They deserve it. And they're not quiet about it either.
No.
They're not quiet about their anti-Semitism. They're out in your face about it.
Yep.
They got this. They deserve what they got.
All about the Benjamins.
They need to be voted out of office.
Elhan.
That's all I got to say about them. I don't want to talk about them anymore.
I like it.
Let's talk about ISIS. I don't like them either.
I don't like the ISIS either. So, yeah, it turns out ISIS, not as dead as the president said they were.
Oh man, they came back this weekend.
Weird. It's like we said a couple months ago that's what would happen.
if you withdrew 100%, yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. So ISIS started out as an underground terror organization that became kind of a failed pseudo-state, and then we kicked their teeth in and they went back underground. Okay, they're gonna come back. We said that, what, a couple months ago?
Yes, we did.
And they're back. Yeah, so they just claimed responsibility for a bombing at a wedding in Kabul, Afghanistan, and killed 63 people, wounded 182, including a ton of kids. So it's actually a local to Afghanistan ISIS affiliate that's been targeting Hazara Shiites for years. The Hazara people are people in Afghanistan. They speak their own dialect of the language. They're one of the ethnic groups in Afghanistan. They actually claim descendancy from Genghis Khan.
Really?
Yeah, they're kind of a cool people.
Well, isn't it like something like every...
It's like 1 in 8.
Yeah, every person's came from Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of kids.
That dude got around. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
So ISIS is on the rise there again. Would you like to know who we're asking to help us put them down?
If you see Taliban, I'm going to throw a fit. Don't see Taliban.
All right, stand by for incoming Jarhead fit, because we're asking the Taliban to help us fight ISIS.
So we want another terrorist group.
The people that have been trying to kill us for almost 20 years. We're coming up on 19 years in Afghanistan, dude.
And we're trying to ask these people for help, huh?
Yep.
We sit down at the table with these people.
We're negotiating with them right now to settle it, to basically get a ceasefire going on. We're essentially putting the Taliban back in control of Afghanistan, but we're asking them to guarantee the safety and freedom of the Afghan people, which they keep walking away from the table because that was never what they wanted in the first place. That's why we went there. Mm-hmm. But now we're asking for their help to help put down ISIS, because the Taliban and ISIS don't have any love for each other.
This is such a disgrace, such a disgrace.
It really is.
Thousands of lives we have lost in this war for the past 2 decades, 99% of them
war in American history
have come from Taliban.
Correct.
Such a disgrace.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's something to be said with pulling out, because I do agree with Rand Paul that we should not be the law enforcement of the world. But we can't just back out and let those guys run amok. We can't undo everything we just did.
So we're asking the Taliban to do our fighting for us now. I can't think of a better idea. I can't think of a better way to do this. No, I can't. I really can't. I can think of thousands of better ways to do this.
So what is one of the better ways? Because we don't think that the war should continue over there. It's been going on long enough, but we can't abandon them and lose everything we've been fighting for. So what is a better way to handle it? Because I agree with Rand Paul. We shouldn't be the law enforcement of the world.
No, that was the biggest, better way I could think of. Just leave.
Just leave.
Just leave.
And we'll lose everything that we fought
What have
for
we
over
gained?
there.
What have we gained? After 20 years, almost 20 years, what difference have we made? To paraphrase a known serial killer.
Who?
That'd be Hillary Clinton. What difference does it make?
Speaking of which, time out for...
Please don't suicide me.
Jeffrey Epstein's coroner, his medical examiner. Way to not get suicided, buddy.
Yeah.
Because he did confirm Jeffrey Epstein did commit suicide. Way
Yeah.
to save your own life there, pal.
Right.
Nobody believes you, but I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just glad he actually got to do the autopsy. What I heard was that while the coroner was out to lunch, Epstein tried to cremate himself.
Would make sense. So
Yeah,
I
just
get where
leave.
I get where you're coming from about just leave and get out, because we've done the same thing in Somalia. We've just completely abandoned the place,
Yep.
and we just sort of drop bombs when these ISIS wannabes or Taliban
Pull
wannabes
back,
kind of pop up.
Cut the head off the snake every time it rears up. Blow up that house.
It's gonna fall to pieces once we leave.
It's
the whole
fallen to
region.
pieces now. It fell to pieces it was already in pieces when I was there. There is nothing in that country worth one drop of American blood or one penny of American treasure. There's no reason to stay there. And if we stay there with the intent of like, well, if we leave, we'll lose everything we've gained. So we're going to spend more lives and more money that we don't have and can't afford to do the same thing 10 years from now, 30 years from now, when we've, right now you've got kids who could take over their father's old patrol. Think about that. That's a generation. Kids who were born after September 11th can now join the army and go fight in the same places their dad fought in. Nah, man. I'm not trying to have my kids take over my old patrol in Kandahar.
It's pretty scary.
It is. It kind of is. So, yeah, just leave. Just walk away now. Call it a loss. Okay? And, look what happened after Vietnam. We came back. We had the Gulf War. We kicked butt, took names because we didn't get bogged down. Maybe the next time we go to war, we'll be like, hey, remember Afghanistan? Let's not do that. And we'll just kick people's teeth in and leave like we should have.
Kick butt and take names?
I don't care about names.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from, but I have reservations about that because, we're not going to be able to cut the head off of every snake. And I struggle with that theory.
It's fun to try.
Because I want to destroy the entire snake at all. I don't want to allow the snake to grow another head, and I don't want it to become a hotbed territory for more ISIS wannabes.
But it already is, and it always has been. You're not going to change that, brother. It is. There's a reason they call Afghanistan the graveyard of empires. Everyone went in there with the same idea. Like, I'm talking the Persians, the Babylonians, Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, the British, the Russians, us. It's all been in there trying to do essentially the same thing, which is unify the people, and it cannot be done. They don't want to do it. They have no use for what we're trying to sell them. They will never buy it. The only thing you can do there is kill everyone or leave. Or unless you're Alexander the Great, in which case you do both. He killed a quarter of the population of Afghanistan. And the only way he got out is by marrying the daughter of his greatest enemy. Mm-hmm. And even then he had to leave a quarter of his army behind to garrison the place just to keep his supply routes open. It's impossible. Leave. Just leave.
So you would do that in Iraq too, the whole area over there? Just leave?
I'd let it be a special forces playground. I would let it be a CIA playground. I would let do exactly the opposite of what Clinton did when he was in office, which is completely dismantle our overseas intelligence gathering network. He underfunded every organization until we were blind overseas. Because we're not supposed to be meddling in foreign affairs. Yes, the heck we are. We serve our national interests, and if that means we have to support one dictator over another because he hates the United States less, okay, I'm good with that. Because it saves American lives. We put on the sunglasses, we blinded ourselves, and we lost 2 buildings and 3,000 people. And more now, because everyone who was exposed to that dust from the tower now has asbestosis. That's what happens when you're blind. That's what happens when you ignore a threat. And then how many thousands have we lost in Afghanistan? How much farther have we gone into debt trying to fund this war that's not making a difference? Nah, just leave. Let the guys from the 3-letter agencies, let the guys who kill people and break stuff, let them go over there and do that.
Okay, so I think we beat this up enough, but I want to come full circle and have a solid conclusion, because you're saying just leave, but we want to leave it as a special ops playground. So we're not going to leave and just let ISIS keep growing or the Taliban.
Nope, keep tabs on them. Keep a network of informants. Keep all your intelligence assets in place. And when you hear about somebody getting too big for their britches, cut the head off the snake. Because the snake is really a bad analogy, because it's not a single organism that you can say, this is the head, this is the tail. It's a fungus. It spreads everywhere. It's impossible to kill the whole network, because you can't kill an ideology. Mm-hmm. It's not a political organization. It's not, your local YMCA. It is a grassroots, bottom-up organization that thrives on that kind of culture. And you're never going to kill that ideology. Never.
Okay, I agree. And I think that's what we've been trying to do for the past 2 decades, is kill an ideology. But my biggest worry, and why I keep going back to what I don't want to abandon everything over there, is that I don't want that ideology spreading to us again and taking more buildings down. So
yeah,
I think we're on the same page, but it's hard to just abandon everything that we fought for over there. So I think we do need to leave, but we can't just allow them to keep growing and spreading.
Yep.
That was a fun little soapbox.
Well, it's kind of.
How do we get off of it?
We say it's a good show.
That's a
fun
good show. Oh, goodness. Good show. All right, Platoon. That's it for now. We have to close out because it's getting crazy over here.
It is.
We thank you for joining us. We do love you.
We do. You're the best audience on the internet. We love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and Platoon dismissed.
Semper Fi.
We're going to have to edit that out.
Why? Come on now.
We can't even use that in the blooper reel. Oh.
You're so dirty-minded.
You heard me?
Gather yourself.
You could do like the high school girl thing.
Your producers are laughing at you. My God.
I was hoping you weren't going there, but you know what?
I expect that from him, but from the producers?
I did really good. I didn't do anything.
We have clearly been married to you guys for too long.
Wow.
We have the best producers.
Can't even use that for the blooper.
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
I kept looking at Dwayne.
I was trying not to look at you for that reason.
Oh man.
I'm sorry, it's my fault.
It is. It really is.